So actually, for me, a situation that I was in which my practice shifted, it didn't come from a single person, but it came from an experience teaching a design research class a few years ago. The class was unusually varied in terms of life experience, ethnicity, socioeconomic level, sexual orientation. I only know this because the students were very open about it. But the group, they were so open about where they were coming from, and they formed such a bond of trust in the group that a lot of my own conceptions, misconceptions about gender and sexuality, gender representation, race, ethnicity were challenged. And I'd always thought of myself as being very open-minded, but I think perhaps up until that point I was only trying to behave in an open and accepting way, without feeling at core much more comfortable and accessible and open. But the experience of that class and the students with me with them, students with each other, was really very eye-opening. Something that changed for me is I think I talk less and I listen more, because I have a tendency to be really impulsive in conversation. I have a tendency to interrupt a lot, and I have a tendency to not pay attention while I'm formulating my own thoughts. And this really stopped me in my tracks in a lot of ways. I think it's really helpful to offer students a one-on-one design experience because it challenges, I think, a model of a one-size-fits-all, mass production, we know what you need, or we don't really know what you need, but we're going to make something and then we're going to create a desire for it. It kind of dismantles that whole system, you know, and I think that that's really useful. I think that that's sort of what's risky about the approach of actually taking this way of thinking to an institutional or corporate level is that it completely undermines systems of authority and capitalism, I think, you know, and that's a big deal. So one thing I'm taking away from this workshop, even though I've done some work with students in the community, is a bit of a different approach in terms of how to initiate projects, I think. And also how to try to navigate the usual human subjects research situation at my institution. So I think I have a sense of what I would like to do. I feel like I need to investigate how it might be possible to do it. I think over time I've come to be less top-down in terms of how I approach briefs and teaching, and this kind of encourages me to keep going in an attempt to be even less top-down, but more ground-up. What was nice about the workshop, and part of it was based on the content of the workshop itself, but at the end of the conference, having worked with some of the same people at other sessions, there is I felt the start of a kind of team spirit. There's just a very different way of thinking, you know. We all do design research, but I think if you're in academia, it's really easy to think that the way to do it is to publish in an academic journal, peer-reviewed, use professional jargon, build your work on the backs of other work as a way of validating its presence, you know, refer back to the canon, and this kind of undoes that.